Hi, it's Holly from At Yarn's Length, and today I'm going to show you how to use chain plying to make your yarn thicker. This is particularly useful if you've only got one skein of yarn and it's of a thinner weight and you're looking to make a chunkier project. The first thing that you're going to do is create a slip knot. Okay, it's just your basic slip knot with the tail to weave in later. You're going to reach in through your knot and grab a bit of your yarn from farther down and pull it through. Now usually when I'm working I do about 1 arm's length, and the reason for that is it's just easy and it gives you a good bit of working yarn before you get to the next time when you need to pull through. But you could do shorter lengths if you wanted. So what I've created is a little chain here. As you can see, it's 3 times as thick now because it's 3 strands. And you're going to work with this until, oops, slipped right out of my hand. You're going to work with this until you get down to the loop, and then you're going to again pull through as long as you'd like, and then just gather that and keep working with it. And you're just going to keep doing this as you go. This is particularly useful. I'm going to cast on now, and you can see I'm using all 3 strands just like they were 1 yarn. But this is particularly useful if you're working with a gradient yarn like a cake, because they have beautiful color transitions. But if you were to try to go through and actually get 3 strands of that and have them match perfectly, it would be nearly impossible, and you'd end up chopping your yarn all to bits. But if you do this, then you can maintain those color transitions while you are working. The other great thing is it's all as you go. Whoops. It's as you go, so you don't have to do any pre-prep. You're not, chopping up your skein or winding it into 3 little balls or anything like that to make it thicker. You're essentially holding it triple as you go. So as you can see, I'm just working with it 3 strands at once. And when I get to where I'm going to need some more, which is coming up pretty soon, because remember I'm using a chunky needle and now it's a chunky yarn. When I get to where I need some more, I'm just gonna take my loop, pull some through, and keep going. Okay, so one important thing to remember is you're gonna need about 3 times as much yarn. If a pattern calls for some chunky yarn, then you're gonna need however much it calls for. But if you start with a skein that's 400, you're actually gonna have about 1/3 of that as you work through in terms of yardage, because you're using times 3 every time you go. So you're going to want to divide what you have by 3 to get what your true yardage is in chunky weight. The other thing that's great about this is you can kind of pop in and out of it. So if I wanted to have something look sort of lacy in the middle of this, I could switch back to just using 1 strand, do a few rows, and then switch back to doing the chain plying. And the other great thing is it adds versatility, and I actually have a triangles lace scarf project that I use with some hobby yarn that only comes in a finer weight, and you can use one whole, it's a big old cake with a gradient color change, and one of those will actually result in one beautiful scarf when used this way, and you just fly through the project so much faster than if you'd use smaller needles. So if you have any questions about this, please leave them below. I'll also link to that pattern so you can see what it looks like in a gradient, because this obviously has some color changes, but they are not a gradient. And then I would love it if you liked and subscribed. You'll get notifications every time I post a video technique or when I have a new pattern and post about that.